And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. So, as you all know, I guess there's been a bit of a interaction between former NBA player Kwame Brown and the current deer, the current duck of the NBA, Lebron James. And Kwame Brown basically made some statements that, you know, are true, that many people have said, that we've said on this channel, that you've heard all the content creators who actually know something about basketball and who actually care about basketball, care about the integrity of the game, like Sports and Fitness Rants, like Angry Old Hoops, like Uncut Hoops, like Michael Jordan fans are the best, like the list goes on, Man Down Sports, it goes on and on. You've heard all of us say, critique LeBron James' game and the lack of growth in it, and the fact that he mostly relies on his athleticism. This is just what it is. And many people say many things about LeBron James. Some of them truthful, some of them are part of the CFL. But you rarely hear LeBron James seem to directly respond to most of these. Most of the time, he's just passive aggressive. And actually, you know, being honest, this was still sort of a passive aggressive move because you could have just said Kwame Brown's name in your response. Like, just like, stop beating around the bush. Stop throwing this. Again, it's passive aggressive. But normally, LeBron James is more cryptic in his responses. Maybe I should say that. But this time he was slightly more direct than his usual indirect self. So let's read this article from Sports Illustrated. Says Lakers news, LeBron James claps back at Kwame Brown's no skill slander. So we already see where this article goes because they called it slander. Says LeBron James seemed to clap back at some recent slander. The Los Angeles Lakers are getting ready for the start of a new NBA season, and with that comes another year for the dear LeBron James. James will be entering his NBA record 22nd season and still has the drive to go for a title, or also known as Stat Pad for those who know. Says his longevity at the highest level is something that we have never seen before, helping his case as the greatest of all time. James, the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, and has been praised by many over his career. However, his longevity has also created some enemies and critics towards him. Really, is that what created the critics towards him? Is his longevity? That's what created it, huh? Okay. It says, during an interview with Swish Cultures, former Lakers center Kwame Brown went into a disrespectful monologue about James. And by disrespectful, they mean truthful. This is what members of the CFL interpret truth as. Says he said that the star hasn't developed his skills enough to be considered. But the problem is when teams play, I guess in this is, they're quoting him here. It says, but the problem is when he plays teams like Chicago or Boston who have real solid principles, he has trouble. And so the old school players wouldn't have any trouble with LeBron because at 39, he should have developed a mid-range and a post game, and he still hasn't yet. He still has the athletic ability to just go 94 feet, which I don't know how, but he still has it. We all know how. But if he didn't have this athleticism, his game really hasn't evolved outside of a three and putting his head down and going to the basket. He doesn't go like Paul Pierce, getting to a spot, pulling up. Those are the things you normally see out of a superstar player. People have made comments like this about James consistently over his career, and normally he had ignored them. However, James did respond to these comments from Brown in his own unique way. In a recent Instagram story, James posted a video of him executing a fadeaway and a few mid-range shots. The captain stated, "Another game of clips of me just running fast and running people over to the basket. No skill." These comments from Brown must have rubbed James the wrong way for him to respond. Of course it did. It touched the nerve. The truth always touches a nerve. It says he has taken shots from all over the place throughout his career, but has handled himself to the highest standard throughout. He knows how good he is, and so does the majority of the basketball world. There will also be people hating on him, so he has taken that and used it as a defense rather than let it affect his game. Well, I mean, how much more effective could his game be? Okay, my people, where do we start with this? Where do we start with LeBron James responding by posting some clips of him executing mid-range and some fadeaways, huh? So let me say this. He responded in a way that someone who is clueless would respond. We've talked about time and time again on this channel about the different, what really separates the stars, right, is consistency. What really separates the stars is the ability to handle pressure. And we've talked about this in the sense that we all know, those of us who've played basketball, we all knew players who in practice they couldn't miss. Somebody currently that comes to mind immediately is the vampire Ben Simmons, who's just basically taking money from the NBA for nothing. You know, every season this guy wants to post clips of him hitting shots that he could never do in the game, because we all know the game is different than practice. So LeBron James, you posting clips of you hitting some fadeaways and mid-ranges in practice means absolutely nothing. It doesn't take rocket scientists to understand what most people mean when they say LeBron James hasn't developed a mid-range or fadeaway or other skills other than the ones he came into the league with. It doesn't take rocket science to really understand what we're saying. What we are saying is that the majority of your game is indeed you putting your head down and going to the basket. I don't think any of us will get on here and say LeBron James has never hit a fadeaway. That's not what we said. We didn't get on here and say LeBron James has never hit a mid-range. That's not what we were saying. We're saying the majority of his game is the exact same as it was when he came to the league, and that is full steam ahead, running people over to get to the basket. LeBron James, you know, that stiff arm you got is quite appropriate for football, but I don't think I've seen anybody get away with it in basketball as much as you get away with it. Matter of fact, I would really like to know if someone can put this in the comments. I would really like to know, has LeBron James ever been called for an offensive foul for that stiff arm that he does? But yeah, we're not saying that LeBron James has never ever hit a fadeaway in his career. We're saying that he can't do it consistently. We're saying he can't do it consistently with the game on the line. We're saying he doesn't have a go-to move that is guaranteed to get a good look in clutch situations at the end of game. He doesn't have that. There is no amount of footage that anybody can show me to disprove what I'm saying here. Let me tell you this. I've said this before. All of the buzzer beaters that LeBron James has hit, and you can go back and look at the tape, like they all look as if he's just throwing something up. I mean, what else can I say? That's what they look like he's just throwing something up. They don't look cool, calm, and collected like we see Michael Jordan, like we saw Michael Jordan do time and time again. So much so that by the end of Michael Jordan's career, he was so used to hitting clutch shots that he didn't even celebrate the same way. Unlike LeBron James, who still wants to yell after every basket, who still wants to beat his chest after every basket, who still wants to do the fake scream after every basket. During Jordan's last three-peat, when he hit game winners, he simply put his fist up, and that was pretty much the end of it, because at that point he had done it so much, he was so comfortable with it. It was so not a big deal for him to do it, except for the fact that he loves to win. So for him, it was collecting another win, but the excitement of doing it wasn't the same, because at that point he just knew he could do it. He knew he had many different ways to get off a good look at the basket, and it didn't matter who was guarding him, because he had so many different ways of getting off a shot. He was always going to be able to get a good controlled look. Michael Jordan's game winners look as if he was sitting in practice. This is the difference. Is that Michael Jordan in the game, in the most tense moments of the game, in the most crucial moments of the game, Michael Jordan looked as relaxed and poised as if he was taking a practice shot. As if the only person he was battling against is himself. And why is this? Because Michael Jordan practice like it was the finals. Let me say this one more time for you fanboys, because I know you guys don't understand this point. I know you don't understand it. Michael Jordan made the game look so easy. Michael Jordan's game winner looked so controlled. Michael Jordan's ability to perform in the clutch looked so simple, not because he was playing against lesser competition, but because in practice, you know, the thing that everybody in today's age feels like it's just like some maintenance or some warming up before the game, or, you know, a way to just make sure that they can still hit shots, even though that's not the same thing as performing in the game. Michael Jordan took practice like it was the finals. So if you get used, I've said this so many times, but you fanboys, you'll never get it. But for the younger generation who's coming up, you know, again, this is about more than sports. This is about life. You can apply this to anything that you want to do in life, is that you practice the way that you play the game. That way, when the game comes, it will be as easy as practice. Kobe Bryant, I forgot which teammate of his I was watching an interview with, but they talked about watching Kobe Bryant practice and how every shot he did at 100% full velocity, at 100% full speed, as if he was in the game trying to perform the move against someone. Again, if you practice like you're in the game, it will actually make the game easier. But go back and watch LeBron's game winners. His buzzer beaters this is what they praise him for. This is what they this is the stat. This is the specific stat that they tried to use to make it seem as if he's clutch. Game winners. Not his stats in totality, because then we would be looking at 20% as a stat for LeBron James. But the stat that they use is buzzer beaters. And if you go look at his buzzer beaters, they all look like Hail Marys. They all look like he's trying to figure something out, because he hasn't practiced like this. He's trying to figure something out and throw something up, and they happen to go in. This is what LeBron James game winners look like. His game winners in Miami, it doesn't matter what era of LeBron James you go to, they all look the same. Why is that? It is because of what Kwame Brown was saying, and that is LeBron James doesn't have go-to moves as a superstar. LeBron James has never practiced that 1-2 pull-up that he can get off over any defender. And then, if you want to take it even further than that, LeBron James is just not complete. Forget as a basketball player in totality, but just as an offensive player, LeBron James is not complete. This adds to his ineffectiveness. Why is Jordan? See, this video may get a little longer than I anticipated, but the reason fanboys, I'm talking to you guys specifically. I know you're not gonna understand, but you know, maybe 1 out of 200,000 of you grasp this. Michael Jordan was so effective. Michael Jordan couldn't be guarded because he was actually good at everything. And when you are good at everything, that makes anyone guarding you look amateur. Why is that? I've watched some reaction videos of some of the delusional LeBron James fan base. And when I say delusional, these are the people who you can tell that they are just fans of LeBron James as a superstar. They really don't know much about basketball at all, and they will defend LeBron James with their life simply because they have fantasies, hoping that if they ever meet LeBron James in person, he would embrace them and say, "Thank you for defending me all of these years. Thank you for being willing to make yourself look ridiculous just to defend my name. I really appreciate it. Well, LeBron, can we go and hang out? No, don't do that. Don't do that." That's what he would say to you fanboys. But I've watched reaction videos of some of the delusional LeBron fan base who are completely invested in LeBron, and they basically, you know, try to make fun of the defenders who guard Michael Jordan. You know, it's not many of these guys. You probably have a tough time finding, but if you've watched enough of those reaction videos, I'm sure some of you have seen. I wish I could even remember the name of some of these guys, but they're just like fanboys to me. It's fanboy number 1 to 100 to 1,000. But I'm sure you've seen these guys who watch Michael Jordan. They try to pretend like they're not impressed by what Michael Jordan is doing, and they try to critique the defenders as if the defenders are just so trash, and this is why Michael Jordan is abusing them in the way that he is. But fanboys, let me explain something to you. Here's the reality of the situation: that Michael Jordan made good defenders look amateur because he was actually a complete offensive player. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this: is when you have a guy who can shoot, who can drive to either side, who's one of the greatest finishers at the basket, who has the hang time of Michael Jordan, who has the drive of Michael Jordan. Oh, by the way, who's also a great free throw shooter as well. So you can't just foul him and send him to the line like you could do with LeBron James. When you have a guy who's good at everything, who has great pump fakes, who's great in the fundamental things of basketball, what does that mean? That means that you literally have to react to any and everything that he does. That's what it means. It means, unlike LeBron James, you can't just stand off from him a couple of feet because you really don't believe in his jumper, because we all know MJ can shoot. So that means anytime Michael Jordan pump fakes, you pretty much have to bite, because if he actually does go up and shoot, he's 50%. He's a 50% jump shooter from the mid range, especially during the Chicago days. You can't get too close on him because he's quicker than you are. You force him to either side. He's, I believe Johnny Arnett. Was it Johnny Arnett? Or it might have actually been Jimmy High Roller, who did a video doing the whole BS that was going around saying Michael Jordan couldn't go left. And he came to the conclusion that not only did it was either Michael Jordan went left nearly as much as he went right, or maybe in certain circumstances he actually went left more than he went right. And what they and what Johnny Arnett determined, I think it was Jimmy High Roller. I think it was Jimmy High Roller. What he determined was that it's like Michael Jordan percentage point went down like maybe point, or maybe went down even 2%. Like let's say he was 50% going to his right. He might have been 48% going to his left or something like that. But the difference was negligible. And this is what I'm talking about. When you have a guy who is good at everything, who has all the moves and all the fundamentals, like I said, who can pump fake you to death, who has the spins, who has the efficiency of the way he scores. And when I say efficiency, I'm not talking about his field goal percentage. I am talking about Michael Jordan does not need a lot of dribbling to score on you. His whole arsenal is based on doing as less as possible to get the basket. Fanboys. That's what efficiency is. So he's 1 step pull up, 1, 2 steps pull up, 1, 2, 3 steps pull up. Maybe he's just gonna hit you right out of the triple threat. When you have someone who is that well-rounded, you have to react to everything, thus making them impossible to guard, because you don't get to back off of them. You can't get too close to them. You have to react to every single thing that they do, because every single thing that they do is a threat. Fanboys, this is something your king knows nothing about. This is what we're talking about. So yes, Kwame Brown obviously was 100% right on the money, and he's not saying anything that people haven't been saying for years about LeBron James. And again, I personally like Kwame Brown. I think, to me, Kwame Brown is someone who you can count on to give you his honest opinion. Again, if anybody had a reason to downplay Michael Jordan, it would be Kwame, because Kwame did not have a good time playing with Michael Jordan. But this tells you, to me, when you see people like that, then you understand that these are people who do not let their emotions get in the way of logic, get in the way of their honest, of being able to objectively critique someone just because you don't like them as a person. I'm here to tell you right now that if LeBron James was actually a great basketball player, even if I didn't like him as a person, I would still give him credit for being a great basketball player. And I do give him credit. Of course, LeBron James is a great basketball player. He's just not anywhere near as great as any of you fanboys wish he was. He's not in my top 20 and top 10. And like I said, I really have a hard time ranking LeBron just because, again, how do you rank someone who is constantly trying to take shortcuts in the game? How do you rank someone who had so much potential and traded it all away for shortcuts? Because, again, I've said this many times. If LeBron James had Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's mentality, because of the era he's playing in, because of this weak era, I believe we would definitively be saying he was the GOAT, because he would have a lot more championships. If he had that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant mentality in this era, he would have a lot more championships. But he doesn't. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. We all wish. But yeah, so it is not about whether I like LeBron James as a person or not. This is simply about basketball. Again, I go back to Michael Jordan and the Isaiah Thomas beef. The reason you can trust what Michael Jordan is saying about Isaiah Thomas as it pertains to basketball is because even though Michael Jordan says he doesn't like Isaiah Thomas, he still says, I still think he's the second greatest point guard of all time next to Magic Johnson. This is what Michael Jordan said. And he's told you, he can't stand the guy. Called him an a-hole on The Last Dance. But he said, but on The Last Dance, he also said, I still think he's the second greatest point guard next to Magic Johnson. That says a lot of things. That says, I respect the game too much to not give someone their credit for how great they play the game just because I don't like them. I'm not going to let my emotions get in the way of me being objective about the game that I love. And so to me, this is how you can tell that Kwame Brown he's being objective about what he says. It's because if anybody had a reason to just downplay Michael Jordan, like Isaiah Thomas does now, it would be Kwame Brown, who didn't get treated well by Michael Jordan. If he of all people, if he had the same character of LeBron James and Isaiah Thomas and Scottie Pippen, Kwame Brown would be trashing Michael Jordan at every turn. Because Michael Jordan hurt his feelings. So now Michael Jordan is not the GOAT anymore. Poor Kwame got his fit. But this is not what he does. Kwame admits, hey, you know, if anybody had a reason to trash Michael Jordan, it would be me. But he doesn't let that get in the way, emotions get in the way of him being objective. And this is how you know you can trust what somebody is saying. All you fanboys, none of you guys are trustable. I'm getting ready to wrap this video up. This has went on way longer than I thought. But fanboys, let me tell you something. None of you guys are trustable. And I'll tell you how I know. Because a lot of you guys get in my comments and you make a comment. And by the comment that you made, I can tell you have not watched the video. You have only read the thumbnail or looked at the title. And believe me, I do that on purpose sometimes to you guys. I do that on purpose to you guys sometimes, just because I know it's going to get an emotional reaction out of you guys. You guys let your emotions affect everything that you do. You don't respond to the information in the videos. You don't respond to the points. Matter of fact, a lot of times you simply deflect to something else. I'm talking about LeBron and Michael Jordan, and you bring up Kobe Bryant and how Kobe Bryant will never be better than LeBron, which is false as well. Kobe Bryant is way better than the Duck all day. I talk about LeBron James versus Michael Jordan, and you guys want to bring up the fact that he's supposedly such a great human that this is why we should not criticize LeBron James in basketball. He's never been in trouble. He's never done this. He came out of high school, the kid from Akron, blah, 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 blah. why would you criticize his basketball skills? Because he's playing basketball, fanboys. But anyway, we are gonna hold up here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think of LeBron James' response to Kwame Brown's critique of Kwame Brown saying, hey, you don't have a mid-range, you don't have a go-to shot, blah, 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 blah. And LeBron James responds by posting some clips of him hitting mid-ranges and fadeaways in practice. Could you be more clueless? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.